Hi guys, White Witch 110 here. We are inside this evening because it's late and it is dark outside. So we're inside. That little noise you're hearing is my fan, my little bitty fan. To try and keep myself nice and cool. Okay. Now I did do a little poll question on my Facebook in regards to your 4 names: Scott, Sage, Aiden, and Mel. And people had to pick. 3 went for Sage. And the other, nobody for Mel, 2 for Aiden, and 2 for Scott. So I decided we're going to leave Scott and Mel alone. We are going to use Sage and Aiden. Aiden you haven't met yet, but you will in a while. So let's get on with the story. For the same reason I do, but we both could be wrong, Abigail pointed out. She doesn't say much, Jan said back at Sage's place. She's not always like this, believe me. When she has something to say, she does. He thought back to those times. He couldn't help but smile at the thought. Memories? Yes, Sage replied. Too easy to see you still love her. You should try and hide it, Jan advised. I can't and I won't. No playing that game anymore. They both know. We all know. They think you're part of a devious plan I have. You? Jan was surprised. Yes. You'd be shocked to know the lengths I've gone to, Sage informed her. Guess you have changed. Never thought you were capable. I've grown up, he said with a grin. How long were you married for? Jan wasn't sure. Over a year. I'm sure things would have worked out if Scott had stayed away and I hadn't gone to California. But you did. Why don't you just move on? Jan couldn't understand the obsession. I can't, and I can't even explain why, Sage thought. There's something about the way she cares. She's a breath of fresh air among a stagnant atmosphere of dating. When he finished his sentence, he realized he had used Scott's words to describe her. Well, Bud, if there is anything I can help with, let me know. Just be careful is all I'm going to say, she warned her friend. Mel and Justin were continuing to date. So far, things at work had remained the same. Work got done, and there was no favoritism. If Justin messed up, he was told and expected to correct it. We on for Saturday? Justin was checking. Yes, I've booked a table at the bistro. I hope you'll enjoy it. The food is excellent. I know. The company will be great. So if the food is lacking, it won't matter. Saturday night, they were seated at a table away from the window. The room was warm, lights were low, and tea candles flickered in a bowl on each table. The aroma of Italian spices filled the room. Their waiter brought a basket of bread and the wine list. Mel ordered a full-bodied red. They clinked glasses to their relationship. During the dessert of tiramisu, Mel made the move. Justin, I'm really enjoying our time together. I'd like us to be boyfriends. Everything coming out of his mouth sounded stupid. He was so out of his element. This was all new. I've been thinking the same thing. They held hands across the table. They both were excited for the journey ahead. Abigail was taking a leave of absence. Scott had made plans for a week on the East Coast. He would be playing a couple of his favorite venues. She was going with him no matter what. Mel, I'm taking next week off. Scott's on the East Coast, and I'm going with him. Will you be performing? He inquired. I'm not planning on it, she replied. But I won't say no if he asks me. Justin is confident enough to fill in. I have your cell number if we can't do without you. You'll be able to walk us through. Abigail was elated to have the time off. In all honesty, she badly needed it. She and Scott packed a suitcase each. Scott sat up late 2 nights before. He had pictured his wife by his side. She'd be there, town to town, city to city, that rock of encouragement. The time change would mess him up for a day or so. 4 a.m. Thursday morning, they were on a plane on their way out of BC for a week, trading in mountains for gorgeous seascapes. The sound of the waves crashing into the rugged coastline, the smell of salty air, the sound of seagulls. It was home away from home. Sage was unaware that they had left. When Dan informed him that weekend, Sage was ready to jump on a plane. Jan stopped him. Smarten up. Why do that? Wait here. Make a plan that will work. She was right. Running off was the worst thing to do. Deb would never agree to help out. He wouldn't ask anyway. Jan said she would. Could he still make her jealous? Likely not. Could Jan plead his case? Sure, but would Abigail listen? That was anyone's guess. Was it possible he had reached the limit? Maybe there was nothing more to try. A reality he should accept. A week went quickly. Abigail enjoyed the Acadian music and people. They were so hospitable. The food was delicious and landscape breathtaking. I can understand why you keep coming back. I'm surprised you didn't move out here. Because I prefer the West Coast, he answered. I don't believe I'd appreciate it enough if I lived here. The second last night, Scott had Abigail join him on stage. Tonight, I'd like to reintroduce someone very special to me. She's been singing with me for the past few months. Please give a warm welcome to my wife, Abigail Wilson. The crowd clapped while she made her way on stage. Someone at the back of the room shouted an obscenity towards Abigail. The staff of the venue quickly took care of the problem. We don't need that, do we? We won't let it ruin this evening, Scott said. From one song to the next, their voices blended. The final 2 songs, Thirsty and his new song. The crowd were on their feet after the last note. People congratulated the couple and wished them well. Others gave words of encouragement. Back at the hotel, they basked in the warmth of the night. That was an amazing evening, Abigail smiled. It was. Scott wrapped his arms around her familiar body. Sage still had no solid plan. Jan had been watching social media. She had seen clips from Scott's East Coast concert. There was no denying he and Abigail were in love. How could she make Sage see sense? He had no chance of winning her back. All she could do was to talk to him. Sage, I seen video from the concerts. What concerts? Scott's. Jan seen his face light up. She's with him. She took a breath. Sage, you've been a friend for years. I know I said I'd help you get Abigail back. Sage cut her off. But you're not going to. He was pissed. That's right. It's not that I don't want to. They're in love. Nothing is going to separate them. It did before, he pointed out. But it won't work this time. There is something there. How many times have they gotten back together? A few times, he replied. This time, it's for keeps. Ain't no one separating them this time. I'll do it. Sage was determined. You have to let this go. It's not healthy. Sage went to reply, then stopped himself. Do you want to lose her as a friend? Because that's what's going to happen. He hung his head, realizing Jan was right. But there was something inside him that just didn't want to. Arriving home after a successful string of concerts, Scott relaxed. People really enjoyed us. He flung his leg over the arm of the chair. No, babe, they enjoyed you, Abigail corrected him. They come to see you, she insisted. That last gig, people enjoyed seeing us together. Abby, some of them had watched our relationship from the beginning. They know us better than we do. Scott guided her to his lap. I did have a couple of women say it was about time. They seen the spark years ago, Abby admitted. See, everyone sees it. They hear it when we sing. How about if the odd concert I sing with you? Not everyone, but some. I'll take that. I'll be at every venue. No, you'll be at every venue with me. He wanted to clarify this. Yes. Wherever you're going, I'll be with you. I'm not taking chances of missing out on a memory. Scott hugged her tight. He sang softly in her ear about his passion for her. Abigail turned round to kiss his lips, waiting for her. Let's take this upstairs, he said. Like a couple of newlyweds, they quickly climbed the staircase. Scott sat on the bed, unbuttoning his white shirt, exposing his tan chest. Abigail stood between his legs against the bed. She gazed into his hazel eyes. Instantly, hers welled up with emotion. There is such a pride, a love, watching you on stage, at home, at the studio. You're mine. The feeling is in the core, strong, ready to burst. It's been there since the first time I heard you, seen you. Her hands caressed his face she knew so well. She ran her fingers through his white hair. Never another day away from you. Abby leaned into his waiting lips. His warm tongue parted them. A moan was her response. Scott pulled her down onto the bed. Let's get these clothes off. Each time they made love, the satisfaction was sweeter. Sacred time alone was the ultimate expression of their devotion. No stronger a bond existed anywhere on earth. They were sure of it. Waking side by side was just as sweet, just as satisfying. The phone rang early the next morning. It was Mel. Hey girl, what you up to? Laying beside my husband. Her voice was dreamy. Did I interrupt anything? No, I wouldn't have answered if we were busy. Scott inquired as to who it was. Mel, she answered. Hey, Mel, he called out. Hi, Scott. Abigail asked if she was needed at the mansion. No, he didn't need her there. He only wanted to hear her thoughts on the trip east. He also caught her up to speed on his relationship with Justin. I'm glad you're content with your life now. You can relax and let it happen. Mel agreed. The friends were at a place in their lives where calm was needed. Despite her wanting to stay in the West, Jan felt it was time to go home. She hadn't been able to make Sage see sense. He was a stubborn bastard at times. "I wish you'd stay," Sage told her as she packed. "I may come back, but timing isn't right now. Let me see what I can do. You own your own business. What's there to see?" "Sage, I have a house to take care of. I have a small office with 3 employees. Yes, I can work from anywhere, but I need to be where they are sometimes. And I don't want to be paying a mortgage on a place I don't live in. I don't want to be upset with you." Jan stood looking at Sage. "I'm sorry. I've gone too far. Listen, I would love to have you here. When it feels right, let me know. In the meantime, please come visit again." Jan felt horrible. He had his puppy dog look that always worked on her. This was no exception. "I'll give you another week. Honestly, you are such a shithead." Jan unpacked. Sage was happy with himself. Meanwhile, in Vancouver, proper things weren't going as well for Nicole. Matter of fact, they hadn't been for some time. This was why she was adamant with Abigail about Scott. Her marriage had been in trouble for some time now. She didn't need to play happy camper because most of the visits to the cabin, Brad was away. Though, just as with others, Nicole couldn't keep it to herself anymore. It had been 5 long years. And I think we'll leave it there, with it being 5 long years for poor Nicole. Wonder what she's gonna do. Anybody have any ideas? Leave them below. We'll see how right you are tomorrow. I hope you've all had a decent day. Ours was warm here. Actually hot. And yuck. They're calling for thunderstorms tomorrow. I think it's in the afternoon. We'll see what transpires. And then I think Thursday it looked like rain too, but we'll see. Who knows? It had been very pleasant there, but today, yuck. It was horrible. Anywho. Oh, excuse me. I keep thinking I'm going to get into the Halloween crafting. The ideas are there. But for some reason, I'm hesitant. I don't know. I think it's because I don't know if they're going to turn out like I want them to. Being more picky in my old age. Changing my mind, too. I'm just looking at 2 different things here. And I think I'm changing my mind on a couple of things. We'll see. Anyhow, thank you to my subscribers who come back every episode to hear this 30-plus year love story. If you're new to my channel, please check out my other videos. There may be something more to your taste there. If there is, please a thumbs up. Drop me a comment. Share it out if you think someone else would be interested. That is always appreciated. While you're here, consider becoming a subscriber. And if you do subscribe, remember to click that notification bell so that you'll know the next time that I upload. And this here is a photograph that I had taken a few years back. As some of you know, I love raindrops on, I'm not going to say it, I have to, on whiskers. No. Anybody who knows the sound of music. I love them on anything in nature. Flowers, leaves, even on cement. Whatever it lands on that looks pretty. It could be a bench, could be wood, could be a railing. It's gorgeous. I see the people that spray water. To me, it just doesn't land the same. My thought, my personal opinion. What can I say? Anyways, thank you for joining me this evening, and I hope to see you tomorrow night for the next, I guess, installment, the next episode, the next installment of the story. And as always, until then, ciao for now.